Welcome to the You at Your Best podcast. I'm your host, Morgan. Before we get into the episode, let me give a little bit of an introduction for anyone who's new. If you like listening to someone process life in real time, or you are neurodivergent, an overthinker, a perfectionist, or maybe feel things deeply, this is the podcast for you. This is a non-professional, very human podcast about choosing authenticity over performance. My goal is to remind you to always come back to yourself. I talk about very deep things. I don't avoid vulnerability, but I trust you to know what resonates, what feels safe, and what might be too much for you right now. And I also share a journal prompt at the end of every single episode to help you think. So join me if you want to create a life that actually feels like you, so that you can become you at your best. All right, let's go ahead and get into this week's episode. Hello, I hope you're doing well. This week's episode is the fun episode of the month. I'll be talking about small things that make healing worth it. But before we get into the episode, I want to give some life updates because a lot of stuff has happened this past week, and I just wanted to give an update like after quitting my job and through burnout recovery, because I didn't give an update on either of those things in the last 2 episodes. So first of all, on Mother's Day, my phone got ran over like a million times. Basically, we were going to the park, my boyfriend, my daughter, and I put my phone on top of the roof while we were getting her in the car seat, and somehow it ended up on the side of the road and it got ran over a million times. Whenever we came back and found it, we used Life 360 to find it, and he went across the road and grabbed it, and whenever he brought it, I just started bawling my eyes out. And in all honesty, Mother's Day wasn't the best day for me, which was kind of sad because it was Mother's Day. So because of that, I've unexpectedly been without a phone for the past 2 days. I'm getting it later on today, but as I'm recording this episode, I still do not have a phone. And it sucks because I have to downgrade, which means that my new phone, the camera isn't going to be as good. But either way, I'm just glad to get a phone, and I'm trying not to dwell on the fact that I have to downgrade the camera. But these past 2 days without the phone have felt very strange. They felt slower, more grounding, but also like very disorienting. It's been a really weird past 2 days, and there have been multiple moments where I've like tried to reach for my phone and then realized, oh, I don't have a phone. But it was also really worth it. And weirdly, these past 2 days have been really hard, but they've also been really healing for my nervous system. They also made me start to see that my exhaustion went even deeper than I already thought. So these 2 days without my phone has been great for recovery. And speaking of recovery, I'll talk a little bit about burnout recovery and an update on quitting my job. I honestly have no idea how long it's been, maybe 2 weeks since I quit my job. Maybe a week. I honestly have no idea. I'm so bad with time. But it's been a lot. It's been good, bad, scary. We ended up having to put our car in the shop right after I quit my job. So we had to spend money that we thought we wouldn't have had to spend. We're still saving up money for our trip to Japan in December. The challenge has been fun, and it's been a way for both of us to really pay attention to our money in the way that we never really did in the past. So even though I'm not working now, we're saving more money now than we were whenever I was working. And then with being at home with my toddler every day, some days are still hard. I'm still trying really hard, but I am slowly improving. And I've been learning to recognize progress in smaller ways. And that's actually what this episode is for. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the whole point of this episode, and then we'll get into it. And again, like last week's episode, I'll keep it really quick. I'm trying to move away from really long intros because I was listening to an episode one time and I was like, oh my God, just get into it. But for this episode, healing is really hard. It takes a lot of courage, a lot of effort, and very hard moments at times. For me, there are times that are so hard that I start to question if I should just give up. Because like healing, you think it's amazing, and then whenever it actually happens, you realize it's fucking brutal. This episode is a reminder for me and for everyone else to not give up. And it'll be part 3 to my Realizing Your Healing mini-series, but this is the fun episode related to that, so it's more light, just talking about fun things. I have today's episode split into 5 different categories. Some examples in those categories will be my own personal examples, and others will be more universal. Okay, let's get into small things that help us remember why all of the hard work is so worth it. So the first category is something that I talk about all the time on this podcast, and it's moments where you're truly present without forcing it. So like laughing and not even noticing that you're laughing at first. Sitting quietly without spiraling, without going into your head, without your thoughts going all over the place. Feeling the sun on your face. Getting into flow state while working and not even realizing that you're doing it. For me, I love cuddling with my boyfriend and watching a movie. Those moments feel like we're genuinely connecting together, or watching a funny TV show and genuinely laughing together. Like him and I are obsessed with Impractical Jokers. We've rewatched it a million times at this point. We've seen every single episode like 6 or 7 times probably. Another example for me is mornings with my toddler while I've been home with her. Family days, rainy days. I love rainy days where we can just either go outside and play in the rain or stay inside and just get really cozy. During these past couple of days and like past couple of weeks, I have been spending a lot of time at home, and I've been genuinely enjoying being at home, and I've been making home feel like a sanctuary. Instead of feeling like I have to stay here, it feels like I actually want to. And I've been spending less time going out and doing things because I genuinely just want to be home while I'm in burnout recovery. And another example of presence is, and this is like a very specific example, hanging out with friends and realizing that you're relaxed so much that you aren't overthinking everything. You're just there. And presence is kind of weird because you usually only notice that you're truly present afterwards, or like randomly throughout the day or throughout the time period. Healing sometimes looks like forgetting to monitor yourself, even if it's just for a few minutes. So if you notice those days where you're like, wow, I didn't monitor myself, I didn't think very much. Sometimes we can kind of start to panic, but those days are actually so worth it. And those days are the moments where we're truly present, because a lot of the time peace feels quiet. It doesn't feel dramatic or over the top, or us constantly thinking or constantly noticing that we're exactly in this moment or trying to appreciate the moment. It's just being in the moment and forgetting to appreciate it until afterwards. The next category is tiny comforts. So like having clean sheets, making iced coffee, going to bookstores. I have been so obsessed with bookstores here lately. I've been really getting back into reading. We have a really big mall about 45 minutes away from us. I love going there and just literally looking around at all the books, looking at the poetry books, looking at the young adult books, just like literally all the books, and like looking at planners and stuff like that, like just romanticizing bookstores. I've been so obsessed with it here lately. And even if we don't buy anything, even if we're just looking around, because we really don't have the money to buy a million different books, and just like thinking about like maybe one day I can have a book on those shelves, just like romanticizing the idea of a bookstore like I used to do in high school all the time with my friends. Another tiny comfort could be eating something that you've been craving forever and just fucking enjoying that meal. Rainy days, I already talked about these. Finding a song that perfectly explains how you feel. I process emotions through music a lot, and I've talked about this some on this podcast. Music is so important to me, and just finding a song where the lyrics or even like the sound of the song, like the sensory experience of the song, it just like hits you to your core. And I know that sounds so fucking cringy. You realize like, wow, this person knows me so well, or like, is this person in my house watching me? And you just like feel so connected to yourself and you understand yourself on a deeper level. And for me, listening to music really helps me process emotions. And a lot of the time I'll be bawling my eyes out while listening to like Taylor Swift or Gracie Abrams or Olivia Rodrigo, because there's so much comfort in someone talking about exactly how you feel without you having to find the words for it. The next one is finding an outfit that feels completely like who you are. Those outfits are so amazing, and I've been trying to focus on some things in my life that are outside of my head. I have a very deep inner world, but sometimes I can just get trapped in my own head and it's not fun, and it kind of feels like an addiction almost. So I've been really working on trying to find things outside of my head that I love, and finding outfits or clothes that I genuinely enjoy have been so fun, and just discovering my personal style. It's literally so amazing. And then whenever you put on an outfit that's like, this outfit reflects exactly who I am, it feels so good. Like for me, I've learned that I am someone who needs to be grounded before I'm able to flourish, I guess. So like I kind of look at it as like my masculine side has to ground me so that my feminine side can be safe enough to be herself. So I've noticed that I kind of naturally follow that with outfits too. I love outfits where I have like baggy pants or like a skirt that goes all the way down to my ankles and like chunky shoes with a more feminine or tighter top. And then like gold earrings and a gold necklace. I always wear gold. I used to wear silver all the time. Now I wear gold all the time. But I found that like those outfits just feel the most like me. And I've been finding ways to make that work in more elevated outfits too, so it's not just casual outfits. And the other day I was just trying on outfits and I found one that was more elevated. It was casual, of course, but like more elevated casual, and it still felt like me. And I was just so happy with that outfit. I started to realize that like I absolutely love dresses, but a lot of my dresses, they kind of stop above my ankle or at a really weird place, and it doesn't feel right for me. It feels uncomfortable. But whenever I have dresses that go all the way down or not so stiff at the bottom, and just dressing for me instead of dressing for other people. The last one in this category is moments of silence that feel comforting instead of scary. Okay, the third category is people who make life feel easier. So like texting that one friend that just gets you so much. I'm like this with my friend Callie. Her and I text all the time. She's probably my best friend. She's really the only friend that I hang out with a lot, other than like mine and Hunter's friends that we have together. But she's my only friend that I hang out with that's just for me. And her and I just get each other so much. I feel so understood by her, and our brains are so similar. So like both of us can be intense and dramatic together, and it's just so comforting. And we can also talk about fun things and talk about our life, because our lives are so separate from each other that whenever we get together, it's like we have a lot of things that we can update each other on. Another one is like deep conversations with loved ones. For me, I really enjoy conversations with my brother because him and I are so similar. Our brains are so similar, and we also understand each other in a way that I feel like only siblings can understand one another. It's just so fun having conversations with him. He loves having deep conversations. He's one of the only people in my life that will just sit there and talk and talk and talk. And both of us, we have this thing where whenever the conversation is ending, we start feeling dread because we don't want it to end. So I really love having conversations with him. The next one is having inside jokes with people that you love, hanging out with friends, cuddling with your partner. For me, days where Hunter's off of work and we can just go out and have fun, like go to the bookstore, for example. The next one is play dates with my cousin and her son. She actually lives in our apartment area. Her baby and my baby, they're pretty close to the same age, and they call each other baby. It's so cute. That's like their nickname for each other. The next one is like toddler laughter, and then family days. The fourth category is tiny accomplishments that feel huge. In my last episode, I talked about how important it is to celebrate yourself, even the small moment. So I really wanted to add that into this episode, add some examples of those. So finally crossing something off of your to-do list, or finishing something that you've been procrastinating forever. Finally achieving a goal that you've had. Finishing something that you have worked really, really hard on. And an example for me, in a moment where I was just so proud of myself and I felt that pride and excitement from an accomplishment that is small in the long run, is whenever I finished editing the reflection episode for this month. That episode was very stressful and overwhelming to edit it. Whenever I started recording it, I had no idea where I was even going with it. And listening back, there are some things that I wish I did a little bit different with editing it, but I'm not worried about that. I just remember that moment whenever I finally finished editing and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, I love editing. I love recording the episodes. I love editing. That's just a part of who I am. It's who I've always been. But sometimes it can be so stressful and so overwhelming. So that moment whenever you finish, I was so proud and just so happy for myself. I think it's important that we really let ourselves exist in moments like that. And after I finally finish a reflection episode, I like to journal about it and just like really sit there in the moment, have the window open in my bedroom. Usually my daughter's napping after I finish because I do all of my work while she's napping, and just really be there with myself and be really, truly proud of how hard I've worked. And also just feeling so relieved that it's finally over with and you created something that was so beautiful. Okay, and then the last category that I'm going to talk about today is future-oriented joy. Planning a trip, like me with our Japan trip. Imagining future versions of yourself, reflecting, writing in your journal about your dreams, finding clothes that feel aligned with who you are becoming, rediscovering excitement, and realizing that you're actually looking forward to things again instead of just dreading every single day that you wake up. All right, and that's all of the examples that I have. This is a very short and quick episode to help you feel joy and to help you remember that you don't need to give up. You just need to find small joys within the hard times, because life is fucking hard. And I could lie and say that it gets easier, but reality is there's always going to be something. And there's a lot of things that we have no control over, but what we do have control over is how we see our life and choosing to enjoy the moments that are truly good. For the journal prompt of this episode, I want you to compile a list of your own personal small moments of joy. Just write out as many as you can think of, and whenever you're having a hard day, maybe look back at them. Okay, that's all for today. If something in this episode resonated, share it with a friend who needs a little reminder that they're not alone. If you want more conversations like these, be sure to follow and rate this podcast. Downloading this episode is one of the best ways to help this podcast grow, so be sure to do that. If you want to find me on social media, all of my links are in my link tree in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next Sunday.